You're good.
Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Thursday, August 14th meeting of the Culver Town Council to order. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded and your participation with your consent to be rebroadcast on the Culver YouTube channel. Roll call, please.
William Cleavenger.
Present.
Justin Croy.
Here.
Ginny Munroe. Here. Dana Neer.
Here.
Valerie Ricciardi.
Here. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of July 24th meeting of the Culver Town Council. Anyone had a chance, or are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Mr. Neer.
I just saw one under Kevin's comment. There was one that it says HOE instead of G as in E. That's the only correction I saw.
I'll find it.
But other than that, I would approve. Motion to approve.
Mr. Ricciardi moves to approve. Mr. Neer, you second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Next item on the agenda is public concern, utility ordinance violations and appeals. Anyone in the room for any of those items? Anyone online?
You might just want to ask that we have one person in mind that I don't know. So
Okay. Public dialogue. Anyone wish to address the council? Anyone online? All right. Old business. Second and third read of ordinance 2025-009, additional appropriations. Motion to approve on second. Are we on second read on that, Karen?
yes, it was passed on first read 2 meetings ago, and I just forgot about it.
Do you want to suspend rules and since
That's up to you.
Okay.
I would make a motion to suspend the rules and pass the ordinance on second and third.
Mr. Monroe moves to suspend the rules and pass on second and third read ordinance 5-009. Anyone have a second? Second by Mr. Ricciardi. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next is the first reading of ordinance 2025-008, water rate ordinance.
That was presented at the last meeting. I think you all had some questions. I provided answers. Now I will let you decide how you want to move forward. I will say that there's not a date effective in that ordinance as of yet, so motion might want to reflect when you want that to go into effect. I believe there's a 30-day notice period once it's published in the newspaper. So let's keep that.
That was brought up, so just so whether people are watching this or obviously there's just a few people here, but one of the questions that was asked by several people was whether or not we could do an incremental increase in basically Baker Tilly got back with us and said no. We still wouldn't have enough to cover the requirement in the water fund. So that is at this point our hands are tied pretty much either way.
Any other comments on first read?
No, I had questions that Karen and Kevin couldn't answer about whether you can mitigate the general fund dollars. Does not sound like that is a wise idea. We would be audited. Knowing that we probably have a sewer project in the future, I don't know that we're going to touch the general fund at this point. That maybe we look at that being a whole separate future situation for us. Maybe we can mitigate better there. If we move forward with water, I look at it separate from that, but I know we still need to look at that. But all the numerous questions I sent were answered to my satisfaction.
The one thing that was brought up in the last session, during public dialogue, was concerning parking. Bob addressed the hydrants. Talking with Baker Tilly about that, Karen asked that question. Really what that payment is for is the capacity, that yearly payment. You're paying for the extra infrastructure capacity of having that water available, the cost of that. That was the explanation, if I understood that correctly. Karen, do you agree?
Yes.
So that was the explanation. It's a little naive to think of it as an insurance policy, but it's there when you need it. And that's unmetered water. That's part of the issue. And so that's why that's built into the annual fund.
We also asked about any sort of possibility of creating something for the laundromat or, and or the, car wash, thank you. And if we did so, that would be discriminatory. And so
I have a motion to approve on first read.
Motion to approve. First read.
Mr. Carney moved on to approve on first read. The second. Second by Mr. Neer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
For the same sign. Thank you. New business. Oh, I'm sorry.
Bill, and maybe for second pass of that ordinance, you guys could come up with what would be the ideal date for implementing or starting it. That there's that 30-day notice, maybe it's November 1 or whatever is awful convenient from a billing standpoint.
We got 2 more reads, so that's a month.
Good.
Plus a
Yeah,
month.
yeah.
Karen, a question, has the owner of the car wash and laundromat reached out anymore to our office here?
They have, not to me.
you know, not that I'm aware of, but I also haven't. But yeah.
Good point.
I'm sure they'll figure out a date.
Okay, if we move on to new business, approve the dues infrastructure payment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Can we move on to the next item of business while I'm not getting stuff done today when I got back?
Okay, sorry. That's all.
I apologize. I literally got back into town at 3:30, so. Scrambled. Could we go on to the salary ordinance?
Yes,
Return back. to the
absolutely.
news, please?
Okay, let's move on to first read of ordinance 2025-010. Amend the salary order.
Yes, when you all voted to appoint Chad as the chief of police, he made the motion but didn't go any further. So he's been acting as the chief of police since July 1st without any sort of pay increase. I would propose that we take 75% of the difference between Wayne's, what would have been Wayne's hourly rate and Chad's hourly rate, which would be $36.63 per hour, which is up from $35.65, and it sounds like a sewer problem. So I would, if you're okay with that, I would ask that you have to make a motion to approve that rate. And then I've updated the salary ordinance to have a range for the town marshal with $35 to $38 per hour. And that would be an hourly rate as well. That way he is paid time as he's working for his chief.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I mean, obviously,
I'll make
I'm
that,
sorry, that was a bad,
Can you retro pay it back to July 1st?
and that's in the salary
Okay.
ordinance.
Oh, okay.
I'll make that motion, Bill.
Yes, Mr. Croy moves to approve on first read ordinance 2025-010, the amendment of the salary ordinance. Thank you, Mr. Croy.
Second. Second motion.
Mr. Monroe seconds the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign.
Could you suspend?
Yes. Motion is suspend the rules in second, third pass. And approve that salary ordinance amendment. That's we notified that way.
Mr. Monroe moves to suspend the rules and approve on second, third read. Ordinance 2025-10. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Neer. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approved on third read.
Okay, and then if I could have a motion to approve pay, changing Chief Becker's pay to $36.63 retroactive to July 1st, which is reflected in the salary ordinance, but I would prefer that I have an actual motion to that effect.
Make the motion to approve Chad's salary at $36.63 per hour for the ordinance range. And for the clerk's service,
Mr. Monroe
Retroactive.
moves to
retroactive to July 1st, sorry.
I'm sorry, I should have just,
approve effective July 1st. The hourly rate of, again,
Is it 36.63?
yes.
36.63 for Chief Becker. A second by Mr. Ricciardi. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign.
Make the motion to suspend the rules.
No,
Oh, you don't have.
I just
to?
need that motion to reflect that you all have approved that. And that's all that needs. So, thank you for allowing me to come up with that. Yeah, and you haven't.
Okay, so I do believe the most recent pay app is number 7, with Midwestern Engineers approved. We are looking at original contract price. I'm sorry, I'm fumbling through this myself, but amount due on this application is $234.45.46. Please confirm that, Jennifer. Okay, good. That's what the pay app for this application is for. We'll be seeking the council approval to authorize that payment.
What was payment again?
$234.455.46, if I understand it correctly.
Would you mind just?
Yeah, I will. I prefer Karen to confirm that because that's the last, and I'm not sure that's the most current. So we went ahead and did the salary ordinance. We're good there. You want to go ahead and do the departmental reports and we can revisit.
Well, let's get Dune's situation to take care of first. Is there a motion?
Well, hold on, no, sorry, we're confirming the payment. I've got to confirm the number. If you give me just a minute, we go into the departmental, we'll get the exact. number.
All right.
Thank you. Sorry.
Let's go to departmental reports. Is Mike on for
He
EMS?
is, yes.
Mike?
Yes, I am. I'm on.
Yep.
Okay. I just want to confirm that our budget for 2026 is confirmed.
That's going to be at the next meeting.
Okay. And then the police chief was at what was his confirmed level at?
$36.63 per hour.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think that was it. I just wanted to check on those dates and those things. And unless you guys have anything else for me, I don't.
We don't have anything for Mike?
Yes.
Enjoy your evening.
Thank you, council.
Derek,
Yeah, I've got two things. One of them is, our hose is supposed to be tested on an annual basis. We have not been able to do that with the manpower that we have. So we've checked around and did some of the other departments, and they're using a company to come in and do it. And we got a price from that company to do it for 6,500 feet of hose, $2,925. That pressure tests our hose, that marks our hose, that dates our hose, which we have never been able to keep up with that program. It's such a hard thing to do. With all the other training that we do all the time, this is something that every now and again we try to do, but it hasn't got done. And for that, that amount of money, we feel that that's a very good price to have this take.
What was the amount again?
$2,925 covers 6,500 feet of hose. That means one of our guys will have to tow the truck to them and they unload it, test it, put it back on, and our guy drives it back. We don't do all that work. They do everything.
How long does it take, Terry? Is it a day? Do it a day?
Yeah, if they got enough guys to do it, yeah, they can. It has to be tested to NFPA standards, which is depends on the size of the hose, it's how much pressure it is, and how many lengths it is. They put in pressure all that time, then they drain it and put it back. That's what they do. They mark it, look for leaks and cracks, anything that needs to be updated or irregular, that something's gonna happen, because some of the hoses we have is old, especially our 5-inch hose, which we're thinking about we're gonna have to replace, but this will confirm that with them doing the pressure testing.
Comes back hole in it, you'll be asking for money to replace it.
Basically. Not necessarily holes, but it does wear.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff was, a lot of our 5-inch hose was Lance Overmeyer realm, to tell you how old. We're just thinking that we're gonna have to buy some anyways, but we just soon have professionals come in and tell us that. We'd like to have a motion to be able to get this ball rolling if I can.
I'll make the motion to approve the expense of $2,925 to test the hose.
Ms. Monroe moves to approve the expense to test hose. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Ricciardi. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Same sign.
Thank you. And the name of that company, if anybody wants to get a hold, it's called Firecat, CATT. That's all they do. And the second thing, I just want to remind everybody that next year, the Fireman's Festival is going to move to Lake Fest weekend. We're not going to be doing the water balls. We're going to get the games from 5 to 8 o'clock. I'm going to have that up there for the media and visitor center. For everybody else's information, I'll keep pushing it so people don't forget. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Chief Becker.
Thank you, council. Since our last report in July, I put our July monthlies in your boxes. Hopefully you've all received those. We finished July with all of our busy weekend activities going on. Since we last met, we had Lake Fest. That went well. I'd like to publicly thank the Marshall County Sheriff Reserve for coming down. They're a big asset for us, for personnel to assist with the parades, the crosswalks. If you look through there, you saw they covered the crosswalks, the fireworks. The following weekend, the Corn Roast and the Environment's Festival all went well with that. We had another weekend of a break, but then we went right into the triathlon. So I think it all went very well with that. A couple from our department, and I also had assistance from the Indiana State Police and the Marshall County Sheriff Reserves that helped with mainly the bike portion of that for the intersections. So make sure that that all went smoothly. Did not hear anything remarkable in terms of that. This month, our public schools, Oregon Media School Corporation, started back up yesterday. So preparations for that going back into session. Talking about the school itself, we do have a school crossing guard. We talked about that in the budget session. Our crossing guard that we've had there for the last few years is no longer able to come back. Assist for that. I was thinking I was gonna be able to at least utilize her to get me started with the school year. But for personal reasons, she's unable to do that, so I, in the other day shift, also will be filling in with that. Kevin and Karen are gonna help me with getting that put out there. And, it's gonna simplify the application a little bit, and we'll get that out there. So if any of you really want to stand out in the inclement weathers and,
Don't sell it like
oh,
that.
sorry.
It's always nice.
It would be
Walk amongst the children.
Yeah.
So positive influence.
That's something I'll be working on, is to getting that in place, but in the interim, covering that. And I'm gonna reach out and see if we can get some help getting that covered in the event I or the day shift guy will be busy.
What time?
can't do it.
What time is the morning one do?
Typically about 7:40 to 8:15. And then in the afternoon, before 3, so 3:50 to 3:15 in the afternoon.
Sitting on Fridays.
Chad, I have a question. I
Sure.
Thought about this. With the addition of the school police department, is this, so, I mean, to me, in my head, it makes sense. I know we've always done it, but it makes sense for us to not spend money to pay somebody to do it, and for them who patrols that, shares that jurisdiction or whatever, however that goes, to be responsible for that. Is that now as chief of police would entertain, or do you want to do it and continue to do it?
We've had this discussion in the past, and I will have to look, and maybe Attorney Tankersley can help me on this, but I think the discussions that came in the past is that the municipalities were responsible for one school crossing guard. If you had large school corporations that utilized more than one, but those were on the school corporation. So always something, I'm going to reach out and see if I can get some assistance in the interim.
Okay.
But, or if school corporation is willing to assist with that, then that would be great. Take that on. But it may come back to us as a responsibility, and I think Mr. Tankersley and I can figure out if there's actually a statute on that to figure that out. But I just know from the history, that's what I believe was brought up
Thank
in
you.
prior discussion. And then continuing up to recently this week, staff and I met with one of the vendors to look at anticipated purchase of some of the equipment that I had on the list that we talked about in the budget session. So gonna work on some of that. And I don't have anything further unless you have anything for me.
Have anything for Chad?
No, I'll talk to you after the meeting. I might be able to do Friday morning. The other mornings I have 8 o'clock.
You have some history with that,
Kids are
so
really sweet, yeah.
she's easy to train. She has some history.
They yell, "Hi, lady." You look like my grandma. Shut up, kid.
That's what it's like being a teacher.
Okay, Crystal.
We had the cameras in the park updated, and he found that one of the cameras was not working. So he, quoted me for a new camera at around $1,200. I think it's like $1,222. We had a conversation that he felt that that was higher than he anticipated, so went to his managers and we've got it down to $1,044 for the new camera. So I told him go ahead and do that, and he's gonna put us on the schedule to get the last one. It's the one that faces the lighthouse. We finished up the summer season last week. Back to a team of me for now. About it.
You're requesting the first.
No,
Already got it. It's already been moved.
we had already come about the upgrade, and this was just in addition to the upgrade.
Thank you. Bob?
I really don't have much for you. There's a couple items in his pile. I don't know if you want to do it now or wait. We got a notice of award and contracts to sign for Peerless Midwest
Yeah,
for water.
the first on my list.
It's up to you. Unless you guys have questions for me, we'll just.
Yeah, this, so we got it first off, the notice of award. The water treatment plant improvements. After working with Peerless and different, talking with the school about the outshed, the total award base bid was gonna be for $762,500, so we're able to bring that price down. Now that's not counting the building of the actual shed, but we're working with Elliott over at the school, Mr. Elliott, and the first freshman, sophomore year building trades, great project for them. They're gonna be able to put it up at a very much discounted rate of what the original bid was,
20% over materials.
20% over materials. And so
So-
that's a great savings. So 762.5 plus the shed will be the total on that. Yeah, any anticipated overages, because you know how that's smooth. I'm asking for the notice of award tonight, and it just requires the president's signature. So I asked the council to authorize that, if you would, please.
Motion to authorize Bill to sign the award with Peerless.
Mr. Monroe moves to authorize, maybe signature.
With involvement from the school. And with involvement from the school, I'll go ahead and recuse
The
myself.
school's amount's not reflected.
It's not reflected
Okay,
in this.
that's been
You're
removed,
okay.
so-
You're okay. Even better. I'll second it.
All right, second by Mr. Croy. Thank you, Doug. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Hey, Bob, I know you're building that shed over the well.
That's what we're
Do we
talking about.
need to make it bigger for storage for the street department?
We, right now, this is what we need. I mean,
Okay,
we can add on to it in the future whenever you guys decide to do with that lot. This is the bare minimum that we need to get by until you guys decide what your plan is, big picture.
We're also talking water tower too, so.
yeah, storage up there.
Yep. The second is the agreement between owner and contractor, so essentially authorizing the president to sign the contract as well. Key points, obviously, the contract amounts in the notice of award. If I understand correctly, the work will be substantially completed within 210 days after the contract. So we're looking at a solid time frame. Anything I'm missing on that, Bob, that's relevant? Okay.
It's all per bid minus those two items.
There you go. That's with obviously Peerless Midwest. Thank you. Finance. So I asked the council to authorize the president's signature on this as well.
Been moved by Mr. Monroe, is there a second? Second by Mr. Ricciardi. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed,
Signature after. Anything else?
Well, there's that stormwater pipe, but other than that, we can wait till next meeting.
Yeah, we're gonna hit that on. Okay.
Okay, moving on. Bob, is that everything you have?
I have every, yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, town manager report.
He took my butt out of the approvals there, so it's a good, it is.
I just lit the stage for you.
I've had some great meetings over the last couple of weeks since we last met. Had the pleasure of taking Todd Zeiger, the director of the Northern Regional Office, Indiana Landmarks, around. He came to town specifically to take a look at the theater, to give us his professional opinion about a preservation project. He smiled kindly and said, whatever was historical about this theater has long left the building. It's been renovated so many times. His recommendation, which we have the email, which I'll share with the nonprofit group that's doing it, is to have it blend in with the streetscape. This is a tear down. Do not try to replicate history with this building. Put it as a streetscape and make it look part of the downtown or that area. And so it was a helpful recommendation. He enjoyed it's amazing as an former archaeologist. I like watching the guy read buildings. We also went down to Osborne Park, downtown and Main Street, and we took a look at those buildings. He was fascinated. Those are historical projects. Those are that he would classify that as our historical area of town. So any work or consideration to those buildings need maybe to consider that history. We walked through. It was interesting. He said, the water, actually things I thought, the water in the basement, not as big an issue. He was recommending supports for some of the beams works and some of the, so Susie went with us, Cafe Max. And I thought she did a great job asking questions and had a good interaction there. He wants to form a relationship. He is fascinated with I would call them Edwardian, given the period, the pavilions down at the park. He said those are probably some of the most historical features we have in town. Even though they were moved by the WPA, they are fascinating. And he had strong recommendations. He said they're in excellent condition, but some preservation of the wood with epoxy in certain areas and then painting was recommended. But he said those are definitely worth preserving and maybe even putting in some antique lighting fixtures on the inside. Really, I love that idea. So it was a really solid meeting. I appreciated the time with him. We heard back from Jessica Yunker. I'm not sure if I informed council last meeting. I don't know if I had that in my hand at the time, but that was with the core distinction. She was in favor of the hotel. She sees the data supports it. It would be a 50 to 65 unit. That doesn't necessarily mean we're doing it. The next step to the process is she's putting together she's giving me a pro forma. We have 2 that we can send to vendors. One was with Cobblestone. We brought them back in. I had a good meeting with Cobblestone this week as well. Chris Hart came to town and we met with the Academy, being a primary driver. Andy Settlemeyer made time for us. No formal discussion about locations or anything, but I wanted Andy to have an opportunity, since they are probably the principal driver and the need, to ask questions directly with Chris. And it was an excellent meeting. There seems to be support for it, but how that looks from the Academy standpoint is obviously a larger question for the leadership over there. But did get a lot of information from Andy as we were there. RFP will be next meeting for the peers. I'm looking forward to getting those in. We should have, I hope, at least 3. I'm confident we'll have at least 3, if not 2, or more, excuse me. But hopefully we'll have some choice and we'll get those open for you guys. And we need to move on that as we're kind of approaching the end of the season coming up. Rain gardens at the park. I was contacted about the rain gardens and in an attempt to kind of keep up and manicure a little bit. I think we maybe unintentionally, from a lack of communication, I'll take responsibility for some of it, may have damaged some of the rain gardens in the areas. They have been overgrown and the maintenance and communication with certain individuals, it's come to realize that it's probably been over 2 years since there's been any real conversation about maintenance and upkeep on there. And I think there were some frustrations from the original intention of being put in. But what I see, for the most part, the rain gardens are still there. I think what communication would have helped is that there's no intention of ever changing those from rain gardens, but looking for an opportunity to revitalize them. I know Crystal's looking at the former plans. Tracy Fox that provided those in terms of species and how they should look and grow. We do have to balance between a maintenance and preserving what the original intentions of those. And that can only be done by reforming communication to distinct groups, the people who have to maintenance them and the people who designed them and have the original support and generosity to give them. So hopefully we'll restore that communication. We're working on that currently. They are worth having. They are valuable to the lake, and there's no question about that. It's just how they're going to be kept. No question here. One of the things I'd like to bring to the council's attention is that we're having increased complaints, I guess is the word, about public safety in terms of the golf carts and most recently electric bikes. The new trail is obviously not installed yet in terms of safety devices to keep golf carts off. Bob and I went a long way today solving an issue with our easement by putting a cement block there so people cannot go down the easement on Fleetwood. You know what I'm talking about, Jay? Right down the hill. So we kind of solved that problem on our own. But with what's concerning me is when I was at Cavalier Park taking a walk with the dog, I had 2 what they call electric bikes, I use air quotes for a reason, running up and down through the limestone trail in that park. These are not bikes. They do not have pedals. They do not. And asking the 2 young men, to be honest with me, probably be careful there. He said they can go up to 50 miles an hour. Those are electric motorcycles. They are not bikes. The other thing is they're driving on the road without a license. They're under the age of 16. We require our golf cart permit to be 16 and older. We have, I encourage the council to consider, not at this meeting, but in future meetings, I think we need to revise our golf cart ordinance and we need to somehow consider these electric bikes and define what we mean by an electric bike, more importantly, and how we're going to manage those. They are a hazard. And while we're having that conversation, we should probably include some of the electric scooters. I do not believe so currently.
I feel like we looked at that.
Basically, it's got a motor, it can't be on a trail.
Yeah,
And it,
Electric, gas.
I think it also relates very closely to the request about the ordinance on the sidewalk. These are considered to be motorized vehicles almost everywhere in the state of Indiana, a golf cart, and they have to be licensed drivers on public roadways. There are state statutes do not allow vehicles on sidewalks, and that's where it ends. The
Well, those-
conversation.
the
So,
two kids riding the electric scooter knees. Came flying down the sidewalk and cut in front of my car as I'm coming up to a stop sign. And I mean, they were like 2 feet from the front of my car and it was like, what?
yeah, we're gonna have, I put this on the radar right now, but I think that sooner we act on it, maybe the better. But if you have emails or questions moving forward into the next meeting, I appreciate your input.
I see a lot of e-bikes, but I've only seen like two guys, the same two kids everybody's talking about, using scooters that continuously buzz around everywhere. I haven't really seen anybody else doing that outside of those two.
I think, so I can see this becoming a greater concern with time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the price point on these are, but I think the sooner we get a definition of what we consider to be electric bicycles, the better.
Well, I know we have storage unit gal who approached us about the golf carts on the sidewalk. And then that it was kind of great to see the feedback in TGL, which I agree with, which is, we would open a can of worms if we even allowed that, first of all.
It was overwhelming.
Secondly,
Right.
it's just not safe. And it's kind of unfair to the walk. We put that sidewalk in because we had academy kids walking down the dollar store. As a stellar project, it was a safety project and to connect those kids in a more safe way to where they're going. And now lots of people seem to walk down there, or they'll park at the liquor store and walk to Fritos or wherever. If they're on a golf cart, they just park in that. So I mean, I had no desire to change the ordinance myself.
No.
And I figured if any one of us did, we could request putting it on the agenda. No one has. I think there's probably some agreement with feedback that's on TGL. I appreciate the fact that Russ put that
That's
feedback out there.
right.
It's the most emails I've ever gotten about a specific topic.
You must want to get here for the trees.
Or the rocks.
Or the walnut. Hey, all right, anyway.
Yeah, go, get
Yeah, sure. Just give me time. That's it for me tonight. guys.
All
Thank
right.
you for your.
Thank you very much. John, your report?
I just wanted to double back to the dunes. I don't believe there's anything tonight. If there is, I'll let you know. At a later time, and we may have to do a special quick meeting, but I don't anticipate it. First thing I have is claims over $2,500 that need approval. I have two for NFP property and casualty. That's actually Miller Insurance and changed names and bought out. The first is $106,990, and that is for property and liability insurance for the town. That encompasses everything except the fire department. So it's the buildings, the liability, the vehicle insurance, etc. And you're welcome if you want to take a look at what all is covered. I'm happy to provide that to you. The second one is $16,498, and that is for the fire property. And then the additional policy, the life insurance policy that you all approved a while ago, that was another $880. Lockmuller Group, $16,532, and that is for construction inspection for Lake Max Phase 3 and the Cass Slate sidewalks. 75% of that is grant funds, 25% is coming from the street department. Text my gov, $4,000. We're in the process of getting that up and running to be able to notify, send alerts out to people, and residents can opt in. Marshall County Council on Aging, $6,500. That is for the transit service support for 2025. And finally, BMO Harris, this is a credit card bill. So really there's like 15 different charges on it, but it totals $3,036. So if I could have approval for the claims over 2,500.
Motion to approve.
Ms. Monroe moves to approve claims over 2,500. There's a second.
Second.
Second from Mr. Neer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same.
Aye.
You took care of the water, or the first reading on the water rate, so next reading on the next agenda. Senate Enrolled Act 1, I was doing a French look this week for the Indian League of Municipal Person Treasurers Conference. I know I'm not the officer position, but I'm co-chairman of the Education Committee, so still involved. But we did have several discussions on Senate Enrolled Act 1. I want to try to get a copy of Mayor Wood's speech from Mishawaka, who spoke very passionately about actions that we all need to take as municipal officials regarding Senate Enrolled Act 1 and how it's going to impact cities and towns. But I'm also trying to organize a countywide event for elected officials. It looks like August 25th. It would have to be during the day to have Campbell Ricci come up. He works with AIM, and he is their policy analyst and just an incredibly intelligent man that he's fascinating to listen to. But he has a very good presentation on the impacts of Senate Enrolled Act 1 when it comes to property taxes, the deductions, the credits, and then also the lit tax that is changing and the extra steps that we're all going to have to take. As soon as I can nail down that date, I sent emails out to my colleagues in the various implement and the other towns in Marshall County. So just trying to nail that down. And then I believe Angel Birchmire can hold the council room open for us at the county building. So, and I think it's very important that we develop, I realize it's difficult, but we develop some good relationships with the county because they are going to kind of be a center of focus of a lot of decisions that will impact us physically or financially. The budget, we're working to finalize the department budgets, and I got some good news this week. Which, Kevin and I went down to Indianapolis last Friday to the A Medical Trust Forum, and they did a high overview of the health insurance benefits that they all provide and we're a member of. And then they said we would get rates on Monday, and they said it's probably going to be between 0 and 3%. Okay, it'll be 3%. Well, actually, it's a negative 0.03%. So health insurance costs, the premiums are falling. It's not a lot, but I'll take it.
That COVID year. That's awesome.
Yes, yes. The other thing is we will have a premium holiday in November. So we will not have to pay our premiums. Our employees will not have to pay the premiums that come out of their checks for those 2 months. They get an extra 50%. All taxable, unfortunately, but so
So that kind of helps the budgets too.
it does help a little bit on the budget.
Built 8%.
I did build 8%, so we've got a little bit. So I'm going to go in and kind of adjust those figures and send the information back out. We'll have kind of the final budgets at the next meeting, and then I'll go start doing what I need to do with the Department of Local Government Finance, get out public notices for our public hearing, which will be our last meeting in September, and hopefully final passage first meeting in October. 2 other things. Townwide cleanup day. I'm starting to get calls about that. Bob, Kevin, and I kind of did some quick texting in the last 2 days. It looks like the weekend of October 4th and 5th. You can set your stuff out at the curb, and Bob and the guys will pick it up on Monday, October 6th. Townwide garage sales are the last Friday and Saturday of September. Friday, September 26th and Saturday, September 27th, and I would need information by Tuesday, September 23rd. There's one more thing that's not into, so it's not that important. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Council issues.
There's a big thank you to the triathlon, police department, park was great. People went to the concert. The roads, super. EMS people were on it. It's great. So thank you, everybody. We had 415. Okay, yeah. So, boost to our restaurants and Airbnbs and whatever else and shops, and we're very proud of our town. No, not the highest, but it's very solid. And then we'll also go give you a drone video, 2-minute video. You really like it. Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right,
Neither do I.
Justin.
No, school's getting started again, and obviously a lot of kids in the community, a lot of events coming up school wise, so they're always looking for encouragement and
That's one. 3 weeks.
that's it though.
All right, thank you. I have nothing. Motion to adjourn. This is moved by Mr. Monroe. Oh,
I did remember what it was. The AIM Ideas Summit is coming up in October. It's October. October, thank you.
It's like the 21st, 22nd.
Yes. The hotel block opens Monday. They go fast, but keep in mind that if you book a room and you are required to place a 1-night deposit. That's not, so.
Let me know if any of you are going, because our company, I'm already booked to go for our company, but I would want to invite you to dinner. If any of you are down there.
I think Bob's going now. Free dinner, you just gotta drive to Indy for one day?
It's a French leg.
French leg. French leg.
You can't get there from here.
Bootlegging going on
There it is.
It's
My Chastain country.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.
Very good.